Family and friends coming together to remember the life of 18-year-old Brooklyn Sims, who was shot and killed while working at a Home Depot in Pensacola last Friday afternoon.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So what you were just watching was a video of loved ones doing a balloon release ceremony for Brooklyn Sims. Brooklyn Sims was an 18-year-old mom who loved her 2-year-old daughter, little Casey, and she was murdered by little Casey's dad, Keith Agee. Brooklyn was 18, so she was a teen mom, and she was simply doing the best she can to raise her daughter and to give her a better life. You know, um, she worked at the Home Depot. She, was very responsible. The family says that she had such a beautiful smile. She was so bubbly. She was so fun. And she would just bring joy to everyone who met her. Even her coworkers say the same.
The way she could make you laugh. She could walk in a room and not say anything and just light up the whole room. I'm gonna miss that about her. It's a reason people used to call her my twin. Like, it's not just because we look alike, we act alike too.
Brooklyn was a soft-spoken young lady. She had a smile that would light up a room. She's a daughter, she's a sister, she's a cousin, and most importantly, she's a mother.
Because the last time I talked to my sister, she just wanted to be a good mother, raise her daughter.
As we look into this case, it's so sad. And what's sad about it is sometimes you're betrayed by people you trust, people that you don't expect to do bad things to you. And this is yet another case of a situation such as that. So let me give you a little bit of a backstory and about this. So, like I mentioned before, Brooklyn Sims was such a responsible young lady. She was fun. She was the life of the party. She just enjoyed life like any other 18-year-old. And she had a strong family support. You know, her mom would help her with the baby, and her brother was there for her, and the family was there for her. So she was someone who came from a very strong, firm upbringing. That's why she was so responsible. She had a job at Home Depot where she worked diligently in order to provide for her daughter. You heard her brother say that one of the main things that she wanted was to provide for her daughter, and she did that through working at Home Depot. And it is there at Home Depot that she also worked with Sheila Agee, who is Keith Agee's mother. Keith Agee, the father of her little daughter, Casey. Now, though we don't know how Keith and Brooklyn met, just from hearing the story, sometimes I guess I would assume that maybe Sheila introduced Brooklyn to Keith. I don't know. Or maybe they met in high school. Who knows? But nonetheless, there's not much information about how Keith and Brooklyn met or how they started to date, right? So Keith and Brooklyn's relationship was never a smooth sailing relationship that was full of love and all of that. Maybe at some point. But what friends and family say was that their relationship was very tumultuous. It was very toxic. It was full of, instances of abuse, at times. And even when the family found out what happened, they were a little bit surprised because they didn't know that Keith and Brooklyn were actually messing around together or together at all, other than what concerns, the two of them, which is their daughter.
They haven't had any contact for quite a while, so that's another reason that the family was shocked that this had taken place.
And sometimes those things happen, don't they? When women have been abused by people or have been with people who have abused them in the past, if they get back together with them, their families are the last people to know. And I think it's because when they tell their families, with the families having their best interests at heart, they're going to dissuade them from being together with this person that they know is not good for them, right? They're going to tell them, don't be with this guy. Remember, he used to abuse you. And they won't even be receptive to that person again or welcome them in their family. So you find that when people were abused and they broke away and they get back together with that person, sometimes the family doesn't know. And I think this was the case with Brooklyn. Now, Keith says what led to the murder really stemmed from a day that they had. That was a great day. They spent the day watching movies, hanging out. I think it was a weekend, just chilling with little Casey, just having that family atmosphere, something that I believe probably Brooklyn wanted, just having mommy, daddy there and the baby being a benefit of such a family unit. And so they had a great day together. However, at some point, Keith received a phone call from some mobile lab company where he had gone to have STD tests done. So Keith had been experiencing things he had never experienced before, like pain with urination, burning sensation, itchiness, all these things that we nurses know as symptoms of STD. And he had never had an STD before, but he knew something was wrong. So a few days prior to this day that they were hanging out, Keith went and got an STD test done. Now, he happened to get the call from this mobile company that day, and they told him he had tested positive for gonorrhea. Now, keep in mind that gonorrhea is a curable STD. It's one of the STDs that can be cured, right? So it's not HIV. And so he was very upset. And this is not to say he was not justified to be upset, okay? Whether gonorrhea is curable or not, I'm sure it's not pleasant to discover that someone you love or someone you're dating or someone you're with has given you an STD, curable or not. Okay, so that's not what I'm saying. But all I'm saying is, considering that this young girl ended up being murdered, I don't know if the verdict, was equivalent to the supposed crime of transmitting the STD, right? So Keith was upset that he had this STD. He approached Brooklyn and asked her, they just told me I have gonorrhea. What's going on? Now, Brooklyn was not willing to engage him in this conversation, and maybe for many reasons. Maybe because she was afraid he would become abusive, and maybe because she felt like, I don't have gonorrhea. I didn't give you gonorrhea. You are the one who's always cheating. Like, why are you even talking to me about this? So she shrugged it off, and that made him even angrier.
I've never been so mad in my life.
Prior to this, Keith had been having relations with other women. He always did in his time with Brooklyn. Some of the women had also experienced abuse from him. Some of the women had not gone to the police to report the abusive instances, and it really could be because they were also afraid, right, of, the wrath of Keith Agee. So Keith, knowing that he's been with other women, didn't suspect that any other woman gave him this STD. Instead, knew in his heart of hearts that Brooklyn Sims gave him this STD. How, folks? I don't know. He's not a doctor. He didn't draw his own blood.
At some point that day, you discover you had been diagnosed with gonorrhea.
Yes, sir.
How did you find that out?
I received a call from Greater Mobile Urgent Care.
When had you taken an STD test with them?
Before Tuesday to that date.
Tuesday prior to the shooting?
Yes, sir.
Why did you have that test done?
I started experiencing abnormalities that I've never had while peeing and resting and sitting down.
Had you ever had a sexually transmitted disease before?
Never in my life.
Texted his mom and told her what had happened. And Sheila Agee, who knew Brooklyn, knew her, used to give her rides to Home Depot, gave her rides on the 11th of August when this incident happened, proceeded to encourage Keith to kill her for doing this, for giving him a curable STD. Right? Not to go to the hospital to be treated, not to calm down and think about this. This is the mother of your child. No. So her solution was to egg her son on, right? When Keith Agee said, I want to kill Brooklyn for what she has done to me, her suggestion was, yes, you need to kill her. If you don't kill her, you're not a man, right? And they proceeded to plot and plan this whole thing on text messages. So Sheila says, if you don't come kill her, you're a bleep, bleep, bleep. And this is the mother of her grandchild. Then she proceeds to say, I'll give you the address here and you can ride over here and do it so you don't have to do it in front of your daughter. Well, how considerate, Sheila. Then Sheila proceeds to say, don't shoot at my car. I don't want to die. And Keith says, I'm not. And then Sheila says, wait till I put her out. And they're talking about Brooklyn Sims here. And Sheila says, as long as you don't shoot me. And the funny thing is how much she doesn't want to be shot, yet she's planning the shooting of her daughter-in-law in essence. Then Sheila says, hold up, let me get it erase the text because I don't want nobody to know I was texting you stupid. And then Kit said, well, I already deleted mine. So at this point, they are now trying to conceal their text messages, so that later on they will not be caught. So her solution was to egg her son on, right? When Keith Agee said, I want to kill Brooklyn for what she has done to me, her suggestion was, yes, you need to kill her. If you don't kill her, in more so in less words, what she really was saying was, if you don't kill her, you're not a man, right? And they proceeded to plot and plan this whole thing on text messages, right? She said, okay, on the 11th of August, when I'm going to Home Depot, I'll text you the address. I'll let you know where we are. And then you can come out to Home Depot. Then he suggested that he would like to shoot her in the parking lot. And then she said, well, I don't want you to shoot her in the parking lot because, you will most likely shoot my car and you could shoot me. Why don't you wait until I let her out of the car? Then you can go ahead and shoot her. And then, at that point, or I could just tell you where we are in the store and what aisle she's working on and all of that. And then you could just come there and shoot her right in the store.
There one message that really set things apart.
I think the one that gets me is don't shoot at my car. I'm gonna be in my car. Don't be careful. Don't shoot my car. Don't shoot me. And he says I won't. It's just that cold reality of what you're reading. And the intent that was involved there. I think that's really the most shocking part.
So this shooting did not take place as soon as they got into the store, into Home Depot. No. They got into Home Depot, they clocked in, and they were given their assignments, and they started to work. And during the course of their shift, Brooklyn's sister called Brooklyn. And she said that she was actually on a call it was like a loudspeaker call, and she was talking to Sheila and Brooklyn, and the three of them were talking, and they were talking about taking little Casey to the water park and all the things that they were going to do and all the fun that they were going to have. And Sheila was having these plans with Brooklyn and with Brooklyn's sister when she knew very well that Brooklyn would not be alive to go to the water park. That's the really eerie evilness of this whole thing. So towards the end of the day, one of the friends says that they were left with like 10 minutes to clock out and go home. That is when Keith Agee walked into Home Depot with, I don't know what type of gun he had, because he shot Brooklyn 29 times. 29 bullets hit Brooklyn, and this was in Home Depot. There were quite a few people who were grazed by the bullets, some people who were injured, through this whole shooting spree. And one of the friends says she's traumatized and she hasn't been back to work at Home Depot, and she's not sure if she is going to go back or when she's going to go back. She says every time she sees a Home Depot, she's truly traumatized. Take a listen.
Bullets ricocheting because they were bouncing off things, and just trying to run, just first thing telling me move. I actually had to hide behind some boxes, like on the aisle, like where a shelf was. I got behind it and put some boxes in front of me, and I stayed there until some more people came by and they seen me, and it was like, come on, where's the exit here?
After this, the police came. It was a crime scene. Of course, Sheila Agee was just as distraught as everybody else. She was as sad as everybody else. Matter of fact, she attended the vigil. That balloon release that they had in memory of Brooklyn. She was there. Let me show you.
to hold a balloon release in honor of Sims. You can see Sheila Agee in this video. Roberson says family members already didn't want her there. However, she said no one knew the extent of Agee's alleged role in her cousin's murder.
I didn't sleep in it at all that night. I tossed and turned all night long to know that you are that close. And I'm going to say, to a murderer. That's what I'm going to say. You didn't pull the trigger, but you gave him the...
And that's the thing, you know, she acted like she was sad, like she had no idea, because in her mind, she had deleted those text messages and no one would ever know she was involved, right? And her son wouldn't tell the police about her involvement. So she had nothing to worry about as far as she was concerned. But of course, you know, police just do what they do. You know, they always catch the perpetrator most of the time, majority of the time. And so they were able to track Keith Agee and arrest him. And he went to court and he was sentenced to life in prison like he should. The tragedy about this whole situation is that in court is where it was actually revealed that Brooklyn Sims did not have gonorrhea. They did tests and the test came back negative. So Keith Agee killed Brooklyn for nothing. He got the STD from someone else. And at the end, you know, Brooklyn's mom talked about how, you know, she's not yet ready to forgive Keith yet, you know, although she's taking care of Casey, little Casey.
She was an auntie. She was a friend. She was an amazing child. She didn't deserve it. I'm not at the point in my life right now. I don't hate Miss Agee, but I can't forgive her. I'm raising his daughter. That day, Casey lost her mother, her father, and her brother.
Agee's mom was then also apprehended and arrested by the police. Now, Keith's mom's in jail. Keith was sentenced to life in prison, and Casey's mom, Brooklyn Sims, has died. So, in essence, that day, Casey lost her grandmother, her father, and her mother. And now all she has is her maternal grandmother, who I think will do as good as any grandmother will do with their grandbaby, you know, in protecting her and in raising her the way she should, just like she did with Brooklyn. So, you know, this is a sad story, and the family really want it to be highlighted, you know, the importance of identifying domestic violence issues at the beginning of a relationship, you know. And I didn't talk to the family personally, but I heard this through news outlets and stuff. And really the family just wants that Brooklyn story can be, you know, another story that just broadcasts and brings out the importance of getting out when you're facing domestic violence, telling someone, you know, and notifying your family and friends. You know, so may really Brooklyn's soul rest in peace. And everything that I report in all of my stories is public knowledge. You could Google it, you could find it. And I'm human. If you find that I have said anything inaccurately, please feel free to contact me and I'll be glad to edit anything. Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining my channel and for spending time with me. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so that anytime I do a story, you can be notified, and to hit the bell button. All right, guys, till next time. Bye.
You're in the wrong neighborhood, motherfucker. Get out. Get out.
I live here, sir.
Where? Where's your house? What's your address?
Maybe we should walk you home.
You can't walk me home.
Well, you bet. You want to bet what I can do?
I live here, sir.
Okay.
Right now, you're harassing the neighborhood.
I'm not harassing anyone walking through the